and welcome to the March 29th, 2023 Northbound Appropriations Committee meeting. The first item on our agenda this evening is public comment. Do I hear any public comment? There's nobody here, so no public comment this evening. Next on our agenda is the approval of minutes from March 22nd, 2023.
I move that we approve the minutes from March 22nd, wasn't it? And,
That's it.
yeah,
Second.
that's another one.
Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Minutes pass unanimously. Next on our agenda is to finalize committee recommendations and report to town meeting. So we have the articles, and they're grouped together as the budgets were presented to this committee. The first grouping includes Articles 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, and 14. Is there any discussion on any of those? Does anybody need any additional information on any of those articles? Do we need any further discussion on those? Any questions on the articles?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just for the record, just Article 4 is the town budget. Article 5 is the water and sewer and solid waste enterprise fund budgets. Article 6 is the K-8 school budget. Article 7 is the Algonquin Regional High School budget. Article 8 is the Assabet Valley budget. Article 9 is the Health Department revolving fund. Article 10 is reauthorization of the other existing revolving funds. Article 11 is the Appropriations Committee's reserve fund. Article 13 is appropriation of the opioid settlement funds. Remember, just designating them into a standalone account for accounting purposes. And then Article 14 is the senior tax relief, which you were given information at your last meeting regarding that. That's a recommendation of the Board of Selectmen.
Yep, thank you for that. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I move the committee vote to recommend approval of the following articles to town meeting as presented. Article 4, town budget. Article 5, water, sewer, and solid waste enterprise fund budgets. Article 6, Northborough K-8 school budget. Article 7, Algonquin Regional High School budget. Article 8, Assabet Valley Regional Vocational School District budget. Article 9, establishment of the Health Department revolving fund. Article 10, revolving funds authorization of expenditure limits. Article 11, Appropriations Committee reserve fund. Article 13, appropriations of opioid settlement funds. And Article 14, senior tax relief.
I guess I didn't need to read them. I won't do that the next round.
And a second? Second by Janice. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? That moves, voted unanimously. All right. Next is the next set of articles, Articles 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and Article 24.
These are the capital articles.
The capital articles, yes. Any discussion, questions? Does anybody need any further information? Yeah, Tony?
I came prepared to talk about Articles 17 and 20, but as written up in our report here, I would simply vote in favor of them.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd like to suggest that we have Articles 17 and 20, that we vote on them at our meeting just before town meeting. I'd like to reserve the vote on that.
Well, can we vote to approve those this evening? And then if there's any need for further discussion before town meeting, we can take it up then?
Is there a reason why we want to hold up the vote?
Yes, but
Can you disclose that, or you can't?
I'd like to reserve that. I'd like to vote on that with the stipulation that some of these articles may be
Discussed again.
brought up and discussed again just before our meeting, at town meeting.
Well, why can't we discuss it now instead of wait till the minute? Okay.
Tony?
May I ask, I mean, is that, I'm not sure there's anything different, if we vote
What's the idea?
on some article now, it could always, in principle, be brought up for reconsideration.
So that they're paid for.
Janice? Janice? Can you,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, Tony, go ahead.
In principle, that's true of any article, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true of any article. If there's any information that comes up between now and then, that's why we have the meeting beforehand to,
Okay, yes.
Discuss anything
That's how
that may come up.
That's how I understood.
yeah.
Maybe for clarification, you're going to review your draft report tonight, so I know the committee's expressed concerns about the funding sources for those two projects. So the chairman sent me his write-up, and so maybe when you review your report, that may cover the concern of the committee. The committee is on record as voting to recommend funding of those two projects with ARPA. The Board of Selectmen chose not to do that. That's just a matter of record. And I assume this is what you're concerned about, Rick?
Yes.
In the report that's drafted by the chairman, he addresses that in a similar fashion to what the Financial Planning Committee did, that they still recommend it to be funded with ARPA. But as it stands right now, the articles going before town meeting, both the fire and the engine and the tight tank are funded with debt. So you have the choice, you can recommend them or not recommend them, tonight. So, but as far as the concern about the funding source, which is what I'm sensing committee members are feeling some angst over, that's not a secret. You've expressed that at your last meeting. You provided written testimony to the board, and I think that that's been addressed. I don't want to speak for Tim, but in his comments that he included in the transmittal letter of the report, I think he expresses the committee's concerns over that. So it's not, again, this is not a secret. So this is, that's the committee's position formally. So, but I think the concern is whether or not you need to vote it a certain way tonight, or I think the report, again, covers the committee's position on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you, John. Any other questions? Do I have a motion? Yes, Tony.
I move the committee vote to recommend approval of the following FY 2024 capital budget articles to town meeting as presented. Article 15, police cruiser replacements. Article 16, police station exterior repairs and painting. Article 17, fire engine 1 replacement. Article 18, DPW road improvements and maintenance. Article 19, DPW 20-ton dump truck with spreader and plow replacement. Article 20, DPW highway garage tight tank DEP compliance. Article 21, DPW 1-ton truck with plow replacement. Article 22, DPW water sewer 15-ton dump truck. Article 23, DPW sewer, SCADA Phase 2. Article 24, school, Z elementary school rear entrance repair.
Those articles combined collectively are what we refer to as the capital budget. So that's basically the first year of the 6-year capital improvement plan. Those are the articles going before town meeting. The only thing that has been separated out just by virtue of it being of a different nature is the high school athletic complex. That's going to be that's not really part of the capital improvement plan. That is a project that is being proposed by the regional high school. That's why that's left out as a separate, potentially a separate motion.
Thank you, John. Do I have a second? Second by Janice.
Sorry, who moved it?
Tony.
That's right, Tony Petit.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Next item is Article 25, the Algonquin Regional High School Athletic Complex Project. Any discussion or questions or requests for additional information?
Chair, if I may, just a little bit of information for you, because there has been some discussions out there in the community about, well, if this goes, first of all, you all know that it passed Southborough's town meeting, okay? So
Yep.
it requires a passage at both Northborough and Southborough in order for it to be a funded project. The article, as it appears, has the full amount of the project, the $7.9 million. That's not Northborough's share. Northborough's share is just under $5 million of it, about 63.22% of the overall project. One of the questions that has come up is, what if there's an amendment made for this article that would say approve the project, except for the turf field, that the field be grass? Okay, so just so that you're aware, my legal counsel's opinion is that there's no amendments that can be made to this. So unlike a typical article that's coming forward from the town, from the board or appropriations or one of the departments, this is coming from the regional school. So it's the regional school district and the regional school committee that has the authority to bring this project forward, subject to approval by the towns. So they are the entity that issues the debt, and they're the entity that defines the scope of the project. So any debate about the scope of the project and what's included or not took place at the regional high school committee level. So once it comes to us and it's on the warrant in its current form, it's a yay or a nay vote. So there's no amending it, there's no reducing the scope or the budget or the changes, just so you know. The other thing that's a unique wrinkle to this is, those of you who've been on the committee for a long time, you're used to anything that requires debt being a 2/3 vote, and you would be correct. However, because we are not the entity issuing the debt, we're just approving the project, it is a simple majority vote at town meeting. And you'll have that on the sheet that we provide you every year with the listing of who's presenting and who's making recommendations. We also show you if it's a majority or a 2/3 vote.
Yep.
So it's a simple majority vote. So it can't be amended. It's a simple majority vote. And if we fail to pass it, the project is dead. So those are kind of the questions that have come up, recently. I just want to make sure the committee was aware of of those details. But again, the warrant article contains you're approving the whole project, and our share of that project is what flows through the regional agreement. So it's based on the 6-year rolling average for capital projects under the regional agreement. The other thing too is, although the project is roughly $7.9 million, that's just the basic cost. This will be done through a debt issuance, which means there'll be finance charges, so the cost of the financing will be part of our share at that percentage in accordance with the regional agreement. So I hope that clarifies if you've heard any questions, I hope that clarifies it.
Thank you, John. Any other questions? I have a motion? Tony?
I move the committee vote to recommend approval of Article 25, Algonquin Regional High School Athletic Complex Project, as presented.
All those in favor?
Second.
You need a second.
Oh, sorry. Jan, a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Passes on to 3-2.
Oh, there were two opposition?
Yeah.
We have a split vote, okay.
The next group of articles is Community Preservation Act articles. They are Article 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. Any questions, additional information needed? Any further discussion?
If I may, just one piece of information, again, for viewers at home. We're approving the articles for the funding that we control. Under Article 33, which is construction of the dog park, there's an anticipation that in order, the full project cost will be an additional roughly $200,000 that the town is anticipating receiving through a Stanton grant. So this is what's being appropriated here under this article is our share of the CPC funding. I believe it's $374,000 roughly, and
347.
I was close, 347. So just so people, again, I want to make sure that folks understand the full scope of the project. It's more than just that. It's another anticipated $200,000 in grant funding for the complete, full phasing of all the project, of all the phases of that particular project.
Thank you, John. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Had a motion for Article 30, White Cliffs Debt Service, Article 31, Administrative Fund, Article 32, Affordable Housing Reserve, Article 33, Construction of Dog Park, Article 34, Construction of ADA Accessible Trails at Senior Center, and Article 35, Library Historic Marker. All those in favor? All those opposed? Passes unanimously.
I want a cat park next year, though.
So next is to review the report, and if anybody has any questions on that, and John, if there's anything that you want to...
Yeah, if I can, just by way of setting up, I know you're seeing this with fairly short notice, but let me explain the anatomy of your report that you do every year. So first of all, there's a couple of gremlins in the formatting. Goes back to, this is Elaine Kelly's format from when she was chair of this committee. It consists of a transmittal letter and then a summary of all the articles and a summary of your votes. As drafted, everything is assumed to be affirmative. So just based on the vote that you just took here tonight, the regional high school complex project vote is not accurate. So that we'll change that immediately. Moving forward, each of the articles that you just voted on are included in here, and again, this is, Elaine's old format, which we stayed with. So the staff has worked to put the numbers in. So we're not editorializing, we're putting the factual information in, the warrant article number, the dollar figure, and then leaving text that this committee has historically, had in there. Like there's a couple things about, under the school budgets, about appreciating the superintendent working well with the administration and the committees. Otherwise, it's factual information, dollar amounts, percentage increases. So a couple of things, we can take the time to go through these articles and the write-ups. Again, it's mostly factual information. Then the only thing that is really the recommendations to the committee in opinion is in the transmittal letter, which Tim sent to me, and I cut and pasted what he sent me and dropped it into this format. So that is the part that you might want to review. And then if there's any questions about the individual articles in terms of the write-ups, typically what we ask is if the committee blesses the report tonight in terms of conceptually based on, it's your recommendations. That's the bulk of the report. Factual information about what the article is and how did the committee vote. That's 90% of your report is like a 2 or 3 page transmittal letter that you should review. That has some opinions expressed by the committee, so you should take a moment to review that. And then typically what happens is if you're comfortable with the report, then you would authorize the chairman to make any other minor edits. So if we find a typo or something, we don't need to reconvene. But the substantive part, which are your recommended votes that you just took, that's, that's what's in here. But if there's any other minor changes, the chairman, you would give the chairman the authority to make those. So if you might want to take a few minutes, read the transmittal letter, make sure that you're all comfortable with it, discuss it here if you would like. I think it goes to the heart of some of the concerns that were expressed on a couple of the capital projects. So this was Tim's take on that.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, it's not a question, it's a comment. Usually in the past, Elaine would have the dissenting votes on an article and the reasons why they were, so in one case, we have a 3-2. So they would give the people who dissented an explanation for why, so that probably should be included in here, so that people would understand why it's not a unanimous vote.
Sure. So that's Article 25, based on the votes that you've taken, we'll modify two, George's in here, so all these votes will be 5 in favor, and representing 1 absence. And then Article 25 was a 3 in favor, 2 opposed, and then 1 absent, so it was a 3-1 vote. So under Article 25 falls on page
13?
13. So again, the information that's included in this as presented is the full project cost, $7.9 million. We broke out, just to show, Northborough's share is 62.33%. It's roughly 4.96%. Making sure people understand it's a 15-year bond issued by the region, and the information I just mentioned about how town meeting only has the authority to approve or reject the article as written, and it can't be amended. So we'll modify, the committee voted 3-1 to recommend. And I don't know what Rick and Janice, if you, through the chair, if there's comments that you would like included in that. Again, it's on page 13, Article 25. It's been a while since we had a split vote.
If ever.
It's been a while. But usually we have the reason so that people understand why.
Sure. So I don't know, Rick or Janice, if you want to express why you're not in favor of the project.
I realize that athletics are important to a large proportion of the population, and that the athletic facilities are in need of refurbishing. But I think that the economic situation generally, and the fact that we are coming out of the pandemic, and we have another major project coming up that perhaps could have more import, i.e. the fire station, that this could be put off. Is that enough?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. So dissenting votes were due to concern over project costs and timing.
Yeah.
Rick, I don't know if you have anything.
And pretty much the same thing, but without micromanaging. I think there are places that could be cut on it. There's extras put in there that we don't need at this time.
So concern the project, regarding the project scope, could be reduced. Okay.
Yeah.
Is now the time to bring up a couple of things that we might change in here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Did the Board of Selectmen become the Select Board?
Not yet. They will at town meeting. So So I've bounced back, it's funny, right now, everything's bounced back and forth, so even, it's funny when you watch their meetings, sometimes they'll refer to themselves as a select board, and sometimes board of selectmen. I anticipate that's gonna take a little getting used to.
Yes.
The state also has to approve it, though, after if town meeting approves it, doesn't the state also have to approve?
It takes a special act of the legislature, because it's a charter change, and so you have the ability to go to legislature for this limited purpose without having to open the charter up and create a charter, committee and all of that. So there's two things in there. The two articles in the town meeting warrant, both of which are seeking authorization from town meeting to petition the legislature for changes to the charter. Article 27, which is changing the name of the Board of Selectmen to the Select Board, and Article 28 is to remove the residency requirement for the town administrator. And as you recall, I was the one that actually mentioned that and proposed it to the board. I think you'll have a very difficult time finding a replacement if you hold to that residency requirement. It's only about a dozen communities across the state that still are holding on to that. And basically what happens is as their administrators or managers retire or move on, they review that and waive it or rescind it, basically. So I just happen to live in town when you guys hired me, so.
Yeah, Tony?
Plus, you might want to update the dates, terms.
Yeah, I would assume that's why it's highlighted.
That's why it's highlighted.
Okay, yeah.
That's why I left it highlighted. I'll have Diane check that and fix the terrible formatting stuff that I messed up when I was plugging this stuff in, so. It's really the substantive pieces of this. We want to make sure that your report, and then we'll format it. And this will be, your report is typically done as a separate handout, printed, a separate handout for the town meeting. And just between now and next year, if you want to look at, the format or how it's structured, this is sort of just the way it's been done, but there's no requirement that it be in this format. I would love to get rid of the tables because it's just formatting wise, it's
Yes.
it's glitchy as all get out. Like I spent as much time trying to get the tables to work correctly as I did putting the actual numbers in there.
I just have a general question, just to straighten up my mind from what was discussed earlier. On Article 17, the fire engine replacement, we are approving the fact that we want to recommend approval of a fire engine replacement. Has nothing to do with how is it funded. It's just recommending the approval of it.
Right. If you look at the bullet underneath that,
That's all I wanted to make sure is clear. Yeah.
it says, the committee recommends the select board use available ARPA funds to eliminate any tax impact. If not funded with ARPA, it'll require debt issuance resulting in additional taxes. I don't think anybody's disagreeing that the project needs to be done, including the board. General consensus is the engine needs to be replaced.
Right.
The disagreement is over the funding.
How is it funded? Yes.
Right.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Again, I'm just trying, when we put it, trying to represent what transpired here, not opining on any of this.
No, I mean, that's what we discussed, so I think it's accurately represented. Yeah, Tony?
Should I make that motion at the end here? Move the committee vote to approve the Appropriations Committee report to town meeting as presented and to authorize Chairman Cameron and the town administrator to make any necessary non-substantive edits if needed.
Second?
Or is that premature?
Second?
No, you still got discussion. Sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Bob, thank
Way
you.
back here. You can't hear me.
Any other discussion?
Did we say as written with
As amended.
with the noted changes?
Yep.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Passes unanimously.
And again, as you take some time to really go through this again, it's a very dense document in terms of a lot of numbers and information covering, a good number of warrant articles. So Some of it too is, there's the, the numbers are the numbers, but if you see a mistake, let us know. We want to make sure there's no confusion unnecessarily. But in terms of just the explanation, there's usually just a couple of bullets explaining. We try to pick out the things that are most important in it. But if there's more information and more explanation or an aspect that we're not covering, that's not substantive anyway. If you let the chairman know, and through your motion, he has the authority to kind of make that edit. It won't change. You can't change any votes or any numbers. So, all right.
Thank you, John. Any other business? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.